Shit like this brings the movement down. Everyone's a feminist until there is a spider around.
I'm not gonna lie, I've been super sad lately reading about how much lesbians don't think that dating trans men or trans masc is allowed. Like, okay, no one is saying that all lesbians all need to want to date trans men or vice versa. It's that if that happens and someone's okay with that, that's fine. But when people are like, trans men are men invading women's spaces and they're just as evil as cis men and just as scary, blah, blah, blah. It just feels like there's no nuance. Yes, trans men aren't women. Trans mascs aren't women. Non-binary people a lot of the time aren't women. And it's okay for them to date lesbians. To some people, the difference between being a trans masc and a trans man is huge. And to other people, it's like minute, barely even noticeable. Also, butches have been trans men and trans men have been butches. And so many trans men and butches have taken so many beatings in the name of the queer community. And it's so sad to see trans men get just like cast to the side because of what? Identity politics on Twitter? Read a book. Read any book. I'm begging you.
Do you want to start a white woman trend with me? Come here, let me tell you what you're gonna need. A notebook or a journal and your favorite writing utensil. Yep, that is all you're gonna need. And then anytime a content creator of color comes across your For You page and gets you in those really big feels, instead of you tapping at that screen, what I need you to do is comment vomit in here. Yeah, go ahead and just comment vomit in here. There's absolutely no character limit in one of these. If you're really in those really big feelings and you think you're gonna make a video, do me a favor, take 2 steps back, grab you one of these, plan it out. Just plan out that video. And then, this is the most important part, give yourself time. Give yourself like 2 weeks, come back, reread what you wrote. If after 2 weeks and you reread what you wrote, you decide that you still wanna put it out there in the ethers, then by all means, I'm not going to stop you. But that's it. That's the trend. Get you.
Got another shorty, she ain't nothing like me. Yeah. About to catch another fight. The apple bottom make him wanna bite. I just wanna have a good night. I just wanna have a good night. Hold up.
Hey, remember this viral photo that Black people told y'all was staged? Well, did you know this is a transracial adoptee named Devontae Hart who was forced into doing this and then later unalived by his white adoptive family along with his 5 Black siblings. This married couple, Sarah and Jennifer, adopted 6 Black children and began abusing them almost immediately, and nothing was done to take these kids from their care. This actually happened near my hometown in Washington, which makes me extra pissed off. And also, Washington has a lot of white adoptive parents, and somebody should look into why, because something is happening up there. Police responded to multiple domestic violence calls from the house. In 2008, one of the kids claimed abuse, saying that one of the mothers hit him on the arm. The case was dismissed because the court was convinced that the child just fell. In 2011, they were taken to court again for domestic abuse, but this time she pled guilty and she was charged for this. One of their neighbors reported that the children would sneak over to their house in the middle of the night and beg for help and food and water because their parents were starving them to death. Another neighbor reported that the kids were acting very robotic, as if they were being extremely disciplined, as in they had to be told when they could go to the restroom, they would walk in single file lines, etc., etc., like some real cult shit. When CPS finally decided that they were going to come check on the family, all they did was knock on the door. The agent then reported that he thought that he saw somebody inside the house, but because nobody answered the door, they just turned around and went home. The very next day, the family was seen packing their SUV, and shortly after that, off the coast of California, they were found to have done an intentional unaliving of the entire family. Next time you feel like gaslighting adoptees trying to tell us that adoption is for unwanted babies to go to safe and loving families, remember stories like these exist and are not that rare. And then also remember that you can promptly go fuck yourself.
Do you recognize this artist? How about this one? Hi, my name is Jesus. I'm an artist in California, and I was inspired by Stephen Rhodes to create my own version, featuring POC characters, Mexican children to be specific. Children are based on me and my sisters, as if we were the same age at the same time. And so our outfits are based on outfits we wore in some childhood photos. And so this design invites you to create protest art and includes all the things you need to create a successful piece, such as symbols, curse words, and for it to be colorful. And most importantly, to be tolerant. So this one says ACAB, Black Lives Matter, Fuck ICE, abolish ICE. I made t-shirts. These are up on my website. They're heat transferred onto comfort colors. You can like really see like all the details on it, the halftones. It comes in this color and butter, and this is citrus. If you like this design, like and follow and comment or something. Go buy a t-shirt. Thank you. I appreciate all the support. Bye.
The pushback that we're seeing on the Black Girl Follow train has been very emblematic of white feminism. Not feminism, white feminism. If you don't know what the Black Girl Follow train is, you probably don't follow that many black women on here, and you should change that. And the reason why I think it's emblematic of white feminism is because the arguments are very similar. It seems to want to reach racial equality using race-neutral means. So on this app, we'll have black women and other women of color saying that they don't get the same PR or the same perks that white creators get on this app. And then some white creators will say, you know what, that's right and that's not fair, and I wish that we could do something about it. So then black women make the Black Girl Follow train, and that really makes some white women annoyed. Wish we could do something about it, but not that. So having this awareness that they benefit from racism, even if that racism is seemingly race neutral, but then also mandating that the solution to the racism that they benefit from also has to be race neutral. So somehow we're gonna solve a problem by ignoring it. Like Black Girl Follow train, for example. Evening the playing field, a bit. But then white folks, specifically white women on this app, say that that's not fair. White women get to be the center of positive attention on this app all of the time, just by virtue of their whiteness under white supremacy and a beauty standard. And intellectually, many of them seem to understand this, but practically they want to ignore it. When you're used to being privileged, equality, or anything close to it, feels like oppression.
Can we skip to the good part?
You've arrived at your destination.
I want a thick girl, give me a thick girl.
I didn't realize we were going to be pussy about it. That's all right. That's fine, though. More for me.
Hello ladies, how you doing? My name is Tobias, but most of my friends call me Olivia. My pronouns are she, her, I'm 5'11", and I'm not gonna pussyfoot around the subject. I'm gonna say it with my chest. I need a big girl. Not just thick, not just curvy. I like them big. I like them heavy. I like them plus size. I like them B.I.G. because I'm notorious for such things. Don't waste your time with this guy. He's playing a boy's game in a man's world, and I might not be a man myself, but I am in all the ways that matter. My Instagram DMs are open. Let me make you dinner. Come on.
Ooh, epic baking fail? Laziness is not real. It's just a tool that capitalism uses to make you feel bad for not being productive enough in a capitalist society. There are a few types of laziness. The first is laziness at your job. And I say if you are doing the minimum required work based on the contract you signed with your employer, you are doing your job. In a capitalist economy, all jobs are exploitative, and being lazy at the job is nothing but taking back what's yours. Now, there is laziness where you can make your coworkers work harder because of your lack of work. I would call that inconsideration and not laziness. Let's talk about laziness at home. If you don't have the energy to engage in daily hygienic routines, I would call that depression, not laziness. Otherwise, if you're just sitting around enjoying your life, that's what you're doing, enjoying your life, which is much more important than being productive. In general, lazy is a meaningless term that gets thrown around to judge other people. Ooh, better luck next time.
We're finally talking about how there's so much white and aspie supremacy in online neurodivergent spaces. But how did we get here in the first place? It's because these spaces usually only center the voices of low support needs, high masking, and white autists. It's obvious to those of us who aren't. When middle, high support needs, low masking, and autists of color tried to criticize this, were always dismissed by people claiming that we're invalidating their trauma. In reality, we're not saying that your autistic experience isn't important. We're trying to say that ours are just as important. The voices of high masking, low support needs, late diagnosed, and white autists are dominating our spaces. That's the exact demographic that benefits from aspie supremacy. So I'm not surprised that aspie supremacy is flourishing.
right for you. Everybody's got a hunger they can't resist. There's so much that you want, you deserve much more than this. Well, if dreams came true, oh, wouldn't that be nice? But this ain't no dream, we're living through the night. That girl, you want it, you take it, you pay the price to prove it all night. Prove it all night, prove it all night, baby.
I love street food videos not just because I love cooking and watching people cook, but because I think it's a very good insight into American individualism. You can see this in the comment section where they are very often overrun with comments about sanitary conditions, as if this person could not possibly keep in mind the health and well-being or the best interests of their customers if there is not an FDA or an employer to ensure that. And maybe that's all it is insurance. But it's a good example of the difference between a collective or community-based culture and an individualistic culture like America, where it's a basic level of respect and trust granted to you in a collective culture that has to be earned in individualistic or American culture. It's a quiet, subconscious understanding in America that anybody who can take a shortcut at your expense or take advantage of you to make more money is going to do so, whether it's done out of survival or done out of greed, and you have to be constantly guarded against that. And not to be all doom and gloom, I don't think everybody is like that. There are people who care about people everywhere. But it's just a very interesting insight into American subconscious and the culture that we find ourselves trying to traverse every day. We're put in a system that we don't enjoy, whether we know it or not. And we're all just looking for ways to survive. That is all.